Greetings from my home to yours. My heart is filled with so much gratitude today. I want to thank everyone who was a part of the celebration of my 8 years of ministry at Unity this past Saturday. Your words of love and support mean so much. I know that today is not goodbye, but I just wanted to express my gratitude for all that we have shared and all that I have learned from you. I've been thinking a lot about love and the spiritual practice of love and the heritage of universalism that we share. Just as I spoke last week about how the ways in which we tell the story of our Unitarian Universalist history needs to change in this moment, I think the same is true in how we reflect on and understand our theological roots. The early Universalists made their name as the preachers of universal salvation, the sense of a loving God who would bring everyone back in reconciliation to that sense of the holy. There would be no such thing as eternal damnation. There would be no such thing as predestination, the sense of eternal damnation, but without any ability to do anything about it. A universal salvation meant a God who, as one journalist once said, left the door open and the light on until the last child found its way home. That sense of unconditional love has been part of the foundation of Universalist theology for me. And yet I know how hard it is to actually embrace that understanding. I know this as the parent of teenagers, as the parent of one senior who bridged at Unity this past Sunday. And as we celebrated our graduating seniors, we spoke about the original blessing in each of them. We spoke about how we saw them grow in their own unique ways into adulthood, and how the congregation and this faith would always be there, no matter where their journey takes them. And yet I know how hard it is for children to fully understand what a parent's unconditional love means. That it's not about whether or not you remembered to do your chores that day. It's not about what you accomplished at school or in sports or in the arts. That unconditional love is with you on your worst days as well as on your best, and is always a place that you can find your way back home to when you most need it. Another value that I have learned and loved and treasured from our Universalist heritage is that sense of the inherent worth and dignity of each of us, that our shared humanity is a bond that we hold no matter what. I think about, it's been expressed in many ways in different eras, but I think about the words of Mary Livermore, a Universalist lay woman who was a leader in the 1800s and who made her career as a lecturer, going around the country, speaking about women's suffrage, speaking about the temperance movement, speaking about the abolitionist movement. And in one of her lectures on the rights of women, she said these words: "Above the titles of wife and mother, which, although dear, are transitory and accidental, there is the title human being, which precedes and outranks every other." Her sense of the title human being that each of us holds was part of her activism and call to act for the equal rights of women. And so the sense of unconditional love and the sense of the most important title human being that each of us holds have been part of the Universalist foundation in my life and practice. And yet I'm also aware in this moment that they are the exact values that can lead me to gloss over important differences and truths that people have been trying to teach me. In the intercultural developmental inventory, this is the stage of minimization that really most of us are in. That sense that what we hold in common or the values that we share are more important than our differences. And yet sometimes those differences are exactly the things that make a difference in our inability to actually enact true justice and true equity in our world. And if we cannot hear the experiences of those differences, then we are not able to learn the things we need to learn and to unlearn the things that we need to let go of. And so I've been holding this as we've thought about what does it mean to be a deliberate universalist in this moment? How does my universalism, my sense of that larger love, my sense of the humanity in each person that I meet, how might that invite me to show up, not with assumptions about what we hold in common, but how might it help me show up with an open heart and open ear to hear the differences and hear the experiences that I might need to know about that are different from my own. Just as Mary Livermore names that title of wife and mother, those titles actually aren't insignificant. Whereas they may be transitory and accidental, they are completely significant to how women have experienced sexism and obstacles throughout our history. How might we be open to hearing about the differences that Black and Indigenous and people of color have been trying to teach us for centuries? How might we show up in new ways because of the larger love that we believe in, to listen and hear them in new ways? How might this new practice of universalism, of the open heart and open mind to understand our differences, help us to finally achieve the larger difference of justice and equity that we seek? I don't have the answers, but as a true Unitarian Universalist, I know that identifying the most important questions is essential to living into the answers. And I invite you to join me in this spiritual practice of love and listening, so that we might truly live out that faith that leaves the light on until the last child finds their way home. So may it be.